right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, depends where you find yourself. It's a great day to be alive, and I am excited coming to you tonight with updates coming to you, I should say, from the campaigns and, of course, the struggle. Without the struggle, there won't be any campaigns, and without Amazonia, there won't be any campaigns either. I am quite excited to be coming to you today. I love you to go ahead and, as usual, hit your share button. Let us quickly populate this platform and get it saturated as much as we can. I am looking at the numbers. I know that many people did not expect me to come on today because I usually would not come on Sundays, but I'd like you to do me that favor to hit your share button, and let them know that Comrade Chris is alive, ladies and gentlemen. He's alive. So go ahead and hit that share button. Let us quickly populate the platform, please. And this is not going to be a long broadcast. I just want to, as I call it, set some record straight, and I call it quit for today. And that is what I got to do today. I will not be taking any phone calls. I promise coming back to you to spend a whole 2 hours with my running mate for those phone calls. But today, just a narrative. So again, I'm looking at the numbers here. I like to see the numbers jumping. Go ahead, hit your share button, and let us quickly populate the platform, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and in the meantime, while you do so, I'd just like to remind all of you watching from Ground Zero and everywhere across the globe that our comrade Abdul Karim is still behind bars. We had given La République du Cameroon. Of course, everybody hate ultimatums, isn't it? Even here in the diaspora, they don't like ultimatums at all. But we had given La République du Cameroon up to yesterday, Friday, to release Abdul Karim, and apparently they haven't done so. We don't know whether they are ready to do so yet, but the deadline is come and gone. That was yesterday. It is come and gone, and Abdul Karim is still behind bars, chained behind bars. And again, we'll remind Ground Zero, all of the northern and all of the southern zone. Now we have a couple of people who have been picked up and locked up, and some of them nobody knows their whereabouts. Remember the Oku 40. The Oku 40, ladies and gentlemen, are still missing. They are still missing. It doesn't appear to me like Amazonians are angry enough. Again, it doesn't appear to me that they kill our people on a daily basis. They pick them, abduct them, and put them behind bars. Nobody knows their whereabouts. Their families have no idea. Their lawyers have no idea. And I don't see it. They demonstrate anger from Amazonia. But I would like to say to Amazonians out there that with Abdul Karim being up there behind bars and those Oku 40s and many others that we know have not been found, there is time to do something. It is time to do something to make sure that our people are no longer picked up with impunity and dumped behind the dungeons in La République du Cameroon. So, I'm going to be speaking with the leaders here at the interim government. Something has to be done to make sure that Abdul Karim and those 40 Oku boys are released. At least, if the 40 Oku boys are not released, we should know their whereabouts. And they should have visitations from the families, the lawyers, and doctor appointments. That is what happens all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. And again, these were unarmed bikers who were picked up in Oko returning from a funeral. They were all picked up and labeled Amber Boys, whereas they had no single gun with them. No single gun with them. They were picked up and they are still languishing behind bars today. So again, something would have to be done. The northern zone, all of Ambazonia should be ready. All of Ambazonia should be ready for an announced lockdown, shutdown that will be coming. We should take this really, really seriously, ladies and gentlemen. Again, our people will no longer be abducted and put in jail behind bars with impunity. With impunity, we will not allow that to happen again. We will not allow that happen again. And any leader that allows that to happen, you are not yet in the struggle, you don't know what you are doing. We cannot allow this impunity to go on and on and on and on. That should not happen. All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, I am waiting for you to hit that share button until I come to you with this special presentation that I bring to you today. A lot of things are happening out there, and you hear things that you just wonder, are they true? Are they, are they speaking the truth? Or actually, sometimes you ask, who is speaking the truth? Who is speaking the truth? Ladies and gentlemen, for all of you out there, I have come to your homes, to your gadgets, to your television sets long enough for you to know who speaks to you, for you to know the capability of yours truly to speak truth to you and truth to anybody. And sometimes when I come on to do clarity to some of these issues, I just do it because of the doubting Thomases who are out there. But the majority of you know what yours truly is able and not able to do. But before I get into that, again, I go back to Abdul Karim. Abdul Karim sent out a note, ladies and gentlemen, from detention today. He sent out a note from detention today, greeting all of you. Again, Abdul Karim sent out a note from detention that was today, greeting all of you out there, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Abdul Karim is still behind bars, and if I can read a little bit from the note that he sent in, he says, "To my well-wishers and the international community, I exhort you to bear with us. Please redouble your efforts in holding up the mirror to our friends and relevant stakeholders, a mirror in which the errors of history, beginning with colonial greed, through United Nations Charter miscarriages, to unfulfilled promises and flagrant breaches of constitutional and other international legal instruments, culminating into the acknowledged albeit failed attempts to assimilate a people who have lost almost all sense of national and individual worth, but who have now risen and now sworn never to be enslaved again in the status quo that denies them their fundamental humanity and dignity." Again, that is coming from Abdul Karim. He dropped out this little note from his dungeon in La République du Cameroon. He says also, "With this hope, I will keep standing in this contaminated water in my cell." With this note, Abdul Karim says, "I will keep standing in this contaminated water in my cell, or laying down on the bug-infested plank of my interrogation cell until the doors of the room open, wherein the round dialogue table stands in the middle, waiting for all stakeholders to come, sit around, and talk and talk. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is Abdul Karim writing from his tiny cell. It's a mosquito infested, and the floor filled with a pool of water. I told you last time that last week when the men from the International Red Cross and International Red Crescent were visiting the little cell where Abdul Karim is being held, they quickly rushed him out, cleaned it up, put him in a different room with a nice bed. The moment they left, they brought him back to the mosquito-infested cell that he is here referring to, describing in this letter. Again, Abdul Karim says he is standing strong. He is standing strong in spite of the condition where he finds himself. So let us keep up, ladies and gentlemen, mobilizing. Ground Zero has to mobilize for Abdul Karim and for the 40 Oku boys. Abdul Karim and the 40 Oku boys, the mobilization has to take place. In the meantime, as I said, I am going to consult with the leaders here at the interim government and around the struggle to see we would have to carry out a massive shutdown of Ambazonia, because again, this impunity should not be taken anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that La République du Cameroon keeps on trying to say normality is returning? And you would think that if they really trust in that their so-called normality, they won't be doing things that compromise their normality, isn't it? La République du Cameroon is not out to negotiate with Ambazonia. I keep telling you this. They would have to be forced to negotiate with Ambazonia. That is what we have to fight for. Anybody thinking that La République du Cameroon will invite you to a conference to come and sit down and talk and negotiate, they are not ready to do that. Only firepower will force them to any table. And that is why I am here. And that is why I am running for election. And that is why I am asking you to vote for me to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is about firepower on the ground. That's what it's all about. If we keep on thinking that some negotiations will free all these people, free Sisiko, free all the rest, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. So please, I am waiting for you. I need to see these numbers hit at least 500, and I will start bringing you this information here. It is very important. It is very, very important. So please, if you have just joined, I'd like you to hit your share button. Hit your share button. Let's say at least 500 within the next 3 minutes, 500 within the next 3 minutes, and I start bringing you this special corrigendum from Iya Marianta's presentation of yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I call it a corrigendum. It is not a rebuke. It is not an attack, as I hear so many people trying to infer to what I try to do. Absolutely not. We are not going to win this campaign by cursing ourselves. We are going to win by putting out what we want to do to rescue, to save, and to deliver Ambazonia from the fangs of La République du Cameroon colonialism. That is what we want to do. Ideas, ideas, ideas. Vision, vision, vision. That is what we need today to win this war. And we have shifted so much away from it to the extent that people come to the throne. I call it the throne because when somebody comes to the throne, doesn't want to stand election, doesn't like election, hates election, he is essentially becoming an emperor. That is what we heard from Sako. Ladies and gentlemen, he had to form his own what? Restoration Council, pseudo kind of, form his own APP. This is not the country we are building. We want to build a country that respects laws that we put on together. And you trust me, you give me your vote, you will see a different type of leadership. I don't understand why our people live in Europe, where the place where the birth of democracy, they live in the United States. No, I always wondered. I always said to myself, how come African leaders, they visit Europe, they look at the system, the democratic systems, they come to the USA, they see the system, the democratic systems, they go back home, nothing ever changes. I used to wonder why. But recently I have realized that even amongst us, ladies and gentlemen, even amongst us, people amongst us have lived in this country for years. And when we say we are fighting for a country where we want a democratic system to prevail, people still fear elections. People still don't want to step down when their time is up. What are we trying to practice? Can't we learn from the countries in which we live in? You know, I am beginning to think that there is something in this power, in this leadership thing, ladies and gentlemen, as I don't understand. If it is all free, if it is all volunteer work, if there is no pay in it, then tell me, why do people like to hang on at all costs? I promise you, 3 years, you give me 3 years and I do what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, I have no reason to be here. I have no reason to sit on, especially if I cannot deliver. This thing is not about, ladies and gentlemen, all right. Hit your share button. We will get there, and I will share the things that I love to share with you. Hit your share button. I want to see the numbers jumping. The moment they hit 500, I start coming to you. We are less than maybe about 80 or so to go. Hit that share button. But listen to me, fellow comrades. Listen to me. This is a new dispensation. We are going to transform the way this war has been executed. Just imagine how much money we raised since 2017, how much millions in dollars that this struggle raised in 2017. And I understand that, listen, nobody was trained in this thing because we all were taken by surprise by La République du Cameroon. Nobody was expecting war. Nobody was a war expert among us. But we raised a lot of money between 2017 and today. And we do not have a single country that recognizes us. We do not have a single country that sponsors us. We do not have, we are still fighting this war in our territory, bearing all the damages, be it human damage or property damage, all still taking place in our territory. It's not supposed to be so after 5 years or 6 years, we want to put it that way. We ought to have moved beyond here. We are not occupying any territory of our own. How come? For 6 years, we have no hold on any territory in Amazonia. Comrades, these are the things that are pushing me into doing this. Again, I never set out to run for any election. I didn't want it. But when I see the way things have been run, ladies and gentlemen, I was pushed to come into this. And I believe strongly, I am strongly convicted I can make a difference. I can make a difference. And I think the moment has come for that difference. Please again hit your share button. About 60 to go, or no, about 60 people to go. hit your share button quickly if you are just joining. The moment that will mark time in this struggle, in this war, is over. It is the time that we unite or never. This is the moment that we unite or never. And when I talk about unity, I mean unity. I don't mean building bridges as you hear some people call it. I mean true unity that all parties are pursuing, not just a slogan that people drop out there in the social media and hope that it makes a difference. No, you don't drop slogans on the social media and expect them to make a difference. Leaders have to learn to pick up the phone and call the other leaders to say, hey, this is what we need to do, or this is what I am thinking. Can we come together? Can we talk over this? This is happening in Bamenda. What can we do? How can we do it? These are the things that leaders will need to be picking up the phones and talking to each other. The moment has come. We've lost so many people, ladies and gentlemen, to want to see this thing sneak through our fingers, and we miss it. No, we've lost just so much to allow that to happen. Again, I'm waiting for you, 50 more people to go. I want you to hit 500 people there, and then I'll start bringing you this important corrigendum that I bring here. Please hit your share button if you are just joining. If you are just joining. Again, Abdul Karim sends greetings and appreciation to all of your advocacy on his behalf from behind bars in Bamenda. He put out a little note today appreciating you and describing the conditions under which he has been held up there. And we hope that that advocacy will continue. But again, as I have promised, I am going to reach out to all the leaders to see what can be done. And I truly think that there is no reason, after picking the 40 in Oku and picking Abdul Karim, John, with others that we may not even know, there is need for a shutdown. There is need for a shutdown of Ambazonia. And we will discuss that and come to you with that announcement. So please go ahead, hit your share button. Hit your share button, please. Hit your share button as you join. I like to come to you with the presentation proper. So hit your share button. Now, while you do so, I'd like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that tomorrow, Ma Gertrude Kisop will be up to address you as she runs for president of Ambazonia. She will be here live on ABS at 8 p.m. Amber. 8 p.m. Amber. My Gertrude Kisop, the other presidential aspirant in this race, will be here on ABS to address Ambazonia, to beg for your vote, as I have done also. So please, again, I'm looking at the numbers, 500. At the moment I see 500 on my screen, I start this presentation. But again, set your die for 8 p.m. Amber, Monday, August the 22nd, as Ma Gertrude will be here to address, ladies and gentlemen, Ambazonia, to explain to you why she runs for president, why she runs for president of Ambazonia. That will be again 8 p.m. Amber time. That will be 8 p.m. Amber time tomorrow. So mark your time, please. Mark your calendar for that appearance of Ma Gertrude Kisop, coming up tomorrow, 8 p.m. Amber, and you can find her right there. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that is my Get Up Kiss Up coming up to you tomorrow, addressing Ambazonia and running for president. I hope all of you will tune in to listen to her. And I guess somebody out there will be saying, wow, how can Secretary Chris be advertising another presidential cabinet? Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard that in those days, in the beginning. Foncha and Endele drove together and campaigned together using the same platforms. That is what it should be, especially with us, because we don't have a country yet. All that we are trying to do now is to get the best leader who can give us that country. So I won't be, that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I announced here last week, every presidential aspirant has equal opportunity on ABS. On ABS, all that you need to do is to call us and say, hey, let's go out. I'd like to come on and do a presentation or take some questions from the public, and we will figure that out and schedule it out, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to talk a little bit about an MOU that you have been told that ABS refused to sign, or that which Chris Anu refused to sign on behalf of ABS. I'm going to talk a little bit about that MOU. It is not what you know. It is not what you have been told. They never tell you the truth, isn't it? When they have something to hide, they don't tell you the truth. But I'm going to bring the truth to you. All right, please hit your share button. We are almost there. Few people to be there. I want to see 500, 10 to go. 10 to go. If you are just joining, please hit that share button. Let it go to your groups, to your contacts, and let them know that I am here. 8 people to go. Hit your share button. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Go ahead and hit your share button, ladies and gentlemen. 3 people to go. Wonderful. Hit that share button. All right. So, I think the moment has come. It's over. The number is there now. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being so generous and working hard to hit that share button. And we now have that number with which to start this. Now, again, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to be part of this broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I have come to you in what you find on your screen, setting the record straight. I said here a few minutes ago that in this election campaign, we are not going to win with cursing, with attacks, with slander, with blackmail. No. That is, to me, descending really, really low. And it is not what we have learned in the Western world. We have seen campaigns in the Western world where leaders come on and talk about the issues, what they hope to do, what they hope to achieve for the country. That is why I am here. I'm not here to say that Marianta came here and lied. Of course, there will be many of it in it, but that is not what I want to do here. It is descending low to even say a lie. No. That's not what I want to do here. But I thought that certain things should be put into the right perspective. And I also tell you what I have to do that she hasn't done for the time that she was here. Most especially the question of fundraising. Fellow Ambazonians, you know for sure that without money we are dead. The struggle is gone. Without money, we cannot fund ground zero. Without money, we cannot buy a single stick. We have refugees all over the place in ground one, in La République du Cameroon. Without money, we cannot help them. We cannot assist them. We equally have prisoners of conscience dotted all over prison yards in La République du Cameroon and in Ambazonia. Without money, we cannot reach out to them. Unfortunately, Leaders forget to understand one of the reasons they are choosing is first to raise money. Raising money is number one thing in this struggle. Because I don't care how good you are, if you can't raise the money, then you are not good for anything. The struggle dies. We have to understand this. This is what is at stake in this election, and it determines the direction of the struggle. Some people said to me, Secretary Chris, you are great for communications. Why not just stay there and give Marianta the ideas to run with? No, we have tested it for 6 months. It just didn't work. It just didn't work, ladies and gentlemen. It will surprise you to know that Gertrude Kisop's campaign is led by the chief advisor to Marianta. I hope you got that. Gertrude's campaign is led by the chief presidential advisor to Marianta. Now, that speaks a lot. I'm sure you guys understand that. So when you hear the question, why can Secretary Chris, not stay where he is? Bring out these brilliant ideas, put them on the table, and let Marianta run with it. I said, great idea. Only if we had a leader who listens to others and who work as a team leader. If you listen to her yesterday, she kept on saying, the vice president and I, the vice president and I, the vice president and I. She was right. She was correct. It is about her and the vice. And that explains why her own senior advisor, chief advisor, is a campaign manager to her opposition. What do you learn from that, ladies and gentlemen? But again, I am not going to go into all the long and winding narrative that she put out there. I'm not going to stoop low to that level. I will just going to explain a few things to you, but let you know that when we choose leaders, no matter the circumstances under which you find yourself, the buck ends on your table. The buck ends on your table. Leaders have to take responsibility for what they have done and not done. And to make a long presentation about how she got here and how the kingmakers did this and that, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something a little bit about the kingmakers. Do you know who are the kingmakers in this struggle? Yes, I am one. I wouldn't deny that. Of course, you guys know that. But of course, Marianta is also one. Dr. Abongwa is also one. Do you know why I said this? When we were working on making sure that the corruption in the Sako regime did not continue, we were 13 of us. 13 of us who saw that things were not going the right direction. And all these people were there. All these people actually choose who should become the next leader. Of course, what do you call that? Dog makers? No, those were king makers. They were 13. We deliberated day in, day out, and we're consulting with the Restoration Council, and the Restoration Council was consulting with us. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of us out here in the diaspora, and 13 people were sitting down on a daily basis and deliberating with consultations. And then a few people go and sit down who have interest, concern for the struggle, and they constitute themselves into a little forum, and you are so so angry and you give labels kingmakers? By the way, what is wrong with having kingmakers? You have them everywhere. There should be no apologies for it for as long as they have good intentions, for as long as they are not out to torpedo the struggle. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we had a leadership that listens, a leadership that sits down and talks with the team, a leadership that consults, I will never be running for this thing. Yeah, as I said, last week, it's only 2 weeks ago that I made up my mind to run for president of Ambazonia. Because when I looked around and see the situation, the prevailing situation, I realized if something wasn't done, this thing may slip through our fingers and La République du Cameroon will be celebrating. And I decided to leave communications to do this so that I can rescue both the struggle and communications. It's a compliment, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a good communicator and a good communicator also who is the leader. It is not a minus, it's a plus. So we should not forget about this. But the added advantage here is that you will have a leader whom you can look eyeball to eyeball and trust and take his word for what he says. Coming to your home for over 6 years now, I believe you can trust what I say. If I say it, the means is there, I will do it. And that is what I am set out to do. We have to save this struggle now. I will bring you a few clips that I gathered from what Lady Marianta put out there yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. And when I bring you those clips, I will make a short response to it. I just went through it randomly, picked a few things, and I like to do some corrections on it. Listen to this.
The CEO of ABS declined going into partnership with this interim government. It was his prerogative and we respected it. The CEO and executives of AFTV accepted to go into partnership with the interim government.
All right. The CEO of ABS refused to go into partnership with the interim government. She is 150% correct in that assertion, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you the reason why I refuse to go into an MOU, enter an MOU with the interim government. All of you will bear witnesses with me that from day number 1 of ABS, it has been all Ambazonia, 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 Ambazonia. And yet, I call it Africa Broadcasting Service. It's supposed to be about Africa, isn't it? But on a daily basis, you've heard it called Ambazonia, Ambazonia, Ambazonia. In fact, I was beginning to wonder, when are we going to do Africa? But that was the vision. A continent-wide news channel. But apparently it has narrowed down all this time to Ambazonia, Ambazonia, Ambazonia. But then the question becomes, if you narrowed down to Ambazonia, Ambazonia, how come you will not enter a memorandum of understanding with the government? I did it for informed reasons. And there are many of them, but I will give you practically one. I was consulted about entering into a memorandum of understanding so that ABS can work alongside the government. I initially said, yes, not a big deal, we can do that. And but a few months after, I changed my mind about it. After I realized that entering a memorandum of understanding meant tying the hands of ABS. Now let me explain what I mean by tying the hands of ABS. I made it very clear, and all of you out there have witnessed it. I made it very clear that ABS is not for supporters of the interim government. ABS is not for the interim government. ABS is for Ambazonia. And which is why you saw me brought on guest after guest that did not even belong to the interim government. The Mark Barretta, the Tapang Ivors, the Honorable Weavers and staff. I kept bringing them on even when they shared different opinions with the interim government. This is my policy. I believe anyone out there who is for an independent, free Ambazonia or Southern Cameroons, though they may share a different opinion on the procedure, on how to prosecute the war, for as long as they share that, I won't hesitate. I won't hesitate inviting them. And I told my anchors that, listen, for as long as they don't oppose independence, bring them on. We can always learn from what is going on in their minds. Even federalists, we can always understand, learn what is making them behave the way they do by refusing to endorse this independence. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't put a wound on any of us bringing a federalist or independentist on a TV set. So, when I realized that entering signing an MOU with the interim government means tying the hands of ABS, I turned around and I said, no, we cannot do that. We want this television station to serve everybody who wants a free and independent Ambazonia. And something, ladies and gentlemen, escalated this decision. You guys witnessed Joseph Weber conference in Germany, aired live on ABS TV. Honorable Joseph Weber's conference in Germany was a paid programming, and we duly indicated the opinions shared do not represent those of ABS. We put on a disclaimer, but you will not believe that the leader and the vice were very angry. They were very mad that we will bring Joseph Weber, an independentist, a bona fide Ambazonian, on ABS, to the extent that one of them said to me, if I had known, or if he had known that Joseph Weber had paid for that programming, he would have preferred to pay that money to ABS and have Joseph Weber come to ABS. He would have preferred to pay that airtime than have Joseph Weber come to ABS. That was the day I said, if you want to sign a memorandum of understanding with ABS so that you can then tell ABS who should come on ABS and who should not come on ABS, that is not going to happen. And I made it very clear, ABS has operated all this time serving the revolution, serving the struggle without asking any government a dime. We will continue to do just the same. If the government deems it necessary to support ABS, we welcome it. But if you don't do it, we will just keep on doing exactly what we are doing. And I came up here last Monday and I announced that every candidate has equal opportunity to come on ABS to promote his or her campaign. But the mention of a memorandum of understanding, they want you to believe that they are not on ABS because ABS doesn't want them there. No, absolutely not. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a very fair person. I can be straight like a stick, but I'm also a very fair person because I don't think I should have the opportunity to use this TV to promote my candidacy, while there are others out there running for the same office. It will not be fair to them because not everybody can set up a TV station. So I open it up, but they will not come because they want you to believe Chris Anu, Pastor Christopher Anu, doesn't want anybody to use ABS again. That is not true. I disagree where I said if you are trying to sign an MOU just so that you can then begin to dictate who uses ABS, that is not the reason for which ABS was created. I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope it clarifies certain things now. Let me take you to this other clip here, ladies and gentlemen.
The second blatant lie, which you would have seen or you might have heard about, is that yours truly has called members of the National Treasury requesting for a stipend to be paid to me because I work too hard and I'm always in Amazonia meetings working for Amazonia. So I should be paid a stipend like the previous president. Fallacies.
All right. Again, the president there is talking about accusing yours truly of saying she publicly says she doesn't want a stipend. She doesn't. Don't even call it a stipend. Call it a pay. A pay, ladies and gentlemen. Anything you would take for a job done is a pay. So, but she goes out in the public and she says she doesn't want a pay. But in the back, she goes out to the treasury and says she wants a pay. I am not taking that back, and I'd like you to trust me. That is exactly what happened. I wish I could put this person on the phone who was able to, who can relate about this issue, but I cannot do that. But I can read you something which is a communication from somebody. I like you to look at that. Let me look for that place. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have this communication here. I don't know whether you can see that. Unfortunately, I can't put it on the screen. But this communication says, "Greetings, President Iya Marianta. Yes, immediately after the joint call, I reached out to the person, and this was his or her answer." Now, this communication is between a comrade and President Iya Marianta. The two of them had been discussing about this allegation of her asking for pay. Now, so after this person contacted the sources whom she had gone to demand for a pay, then this person now returns to Iya Marianta, and this is what he says. And he is quoting the source that he spoke to at the treasury, who confirmed she had come to ask for pay. Listen, this is what he said. "Yes, Marianta asked for a stipend directly to me in the presence of VP Abongwa. When I asked what to tell Ambazonians, she suggested putting it under ground zero action. She suggested putting it under ground zero action. I asked her to prepare a requisition." Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from sources in the treasury. So no, nobody is lying. And let me make it very clear here, fellow Ambazonians. I am not against anybody taking, you call it a stipend or a pay for service for the job rendered to this struggle. I don't know whether you will recall this. We had a discussion here on ABS, and a caller called in and said, Sako ought not to be paid. Sako should not be receiving anything. I was the first, in spite of the differences, to say, no, Sako should be paid, because I know what it amounts to. Ladies and gentlemen, the time and everything that it takes to do this work. And I thought that if somebody comes telling you, I just want to volunteer my time, I just want to do, I don't need a pay, and then they sneak behind to meet the treasury to ask for a pay, and then ask the treasury to make it to look like the money went to ground zero action. Come on, that is dubious. That is exactly what it is. I am not against anybody. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I will receive a pay. I am not desperate to run for this government, to lead this struggle. I am not desperate. If you vote for me, I will take it. You don't vote for me, I leave it. But I'm telling you, you have somebody here who wants this thing done. For somebody to say, run about and say, I don't want a pay. How would they say they want a pay when they cannot even raise the money? My philosophy is that if you are able to raise the funds, you should be paid. You call it a stipend, good. But if you can raise it, if the money is there in the treasury, if you are raising the funds, that person should be paid. The idea that, oh, Ground Zero is suffering, Ground Zero is doing that, this is war, and people will always suffer. But let me assure you, if the person who is running this struggle doesn't eat, that cannot pay rent, cannot do anything for the time put into this, I've got to be frank with you people. I've got to be very frank with you people, because tomorrow, don't hear anything that they say Chris said. Listen to what I am telling you. If the money is there, if a leader can raise enough money to fund Ground Zero and fund the struggle, I do not see any reason why that person should go looking for a part-time job to combine with this struggle to run it. When do you do diplomacy? When do you make the phone calls? When do you hold the meetings? This is very, very important. So, I don't have any problem. When Marianta says she doesn't want a salary because she's a full-time worker, and then sneak behind to go ask for it, the evidence is there. I just read it to you. That is what is wrong with these, our leaders. All right, I'll leave that one there. Now, let me get to the third one here. Listen to this.
If you recall, he has had periods where Ambazonians were not happy with the way that some of his guests speak and denigrate this interim government, of which he is part of. A lot of you complained in the fora, calls, messages, even from Ground Zero, lots of complaints. So, believe it or not, in the cabinet meeting, all I requested, we made several appeals to Pastor Christopher Adu to review the time that he goes on air on Wednesdays and Thursdays, because on Wednesdays, cabinet meetings, Thursdays, the APP meetings, the Amber Peace Plan meetings, because what happened when we have those meetings, cabinet members, himself of course, and other cabinet members will be absent from those meetings.
Oh my. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that, about my volume. Again, the president loses her number. I didn't say the president doesn't hold meetings. No, absolutely not. If she has the record or anybody has the record, please help us with it. Instead, the president has had very regular cabinet meetings. Very regular cabinet meetings. What I remembered saying was the president's number one general on the ground is killed, and she doesn't hold a single cabinet meeting to say, how do we handle this? How do we deal with this? No. If you listen to her speak yesterday, she was still calling the murder of Field Marshal as the purported death of Field Marshal. And you know that this concerned me directly. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I had to come on here to announce the death of my own brother because the leader failed on the 3 a.m. call. She made a point here yesterday that when she was about elected, I said that we should answer the 3 o'clock call. That is true. That was exactly the question I asked. Will you be ready to answer the 3 a.m. call? I don't think she understood what I meant by the 3 a.m. call. The 3 a.m. call is when there is an emergency that needs skillful handling. She didn't understand that. And FM of Ambazonia was that 3 a.m. call. And there have been many of them. The 40 Oku boys are another 3 a.m. call. She never came out to make a single statement. Abdul Karim is picked up, and again, not a single statement. Of course, there was a little short release that was put out there, which was really meaningful. I don't know how many people would know that she said anything. But you also have the ghost towns that some frivolous groups were putting on the ground, and everybody expected the leader to step out and say, hey, I have not called for a lockdown. That one too never happened. Many things that she will not stand up to. And so I said, your number one general on the ground is killed. You used him to raise every dime that you, and in every campaign that you conducted, every financial fundraiser campaign you conducted in this government. And ladies and gentlemen, it is going to 2 months that Field Marshal died. And your president has not come to you to announce it. She still calls it a purported. So that was when they mentioned of, when do you hold a cabinet meeting to discuss the death of your general? Can you imagine what that means to other, how demoralizing that means to other fighting soldiers on the ground? That Field Marshal is killed, and as we speak, the leader of the interim government hasn't come out to address it. She says she set up some investigation team. We don't know whether she's investigating whether Field Marshal is alive or dead. But imagine how that plays in the minds of other fighting forces on the ground. Now, when they die, the interim government will not as much as announce they are dead, mention they are dead. I had to nurture the courage to come on television to announce the death of my own brother. And that was why I questioned, when does cabinet sit down to discuss this? When I saw none, and again up to today, nothing. The government has not said a thing. If you have heard one, you let me know. So that is the point. And then let me go to, ladies and gentlemen, the election facts here. Election facts, ladies and gentlemen. So many things have been done by the present leadership to torpedo, to sabotage, or to get the elections completely stopped. You heard the mention of the election modalities, and you were told that yours truly was a member of that election committee that crafted the modalities. It is true, I was supposed to be a member, but I wasn't there. In fact, my vice was supposed to be a member, or my running mate. He wasn't there. We attended not a single meeting in the committee that drafted the modalities. But besides that, the campaign, the committee, members of the committee were picked from the cabinet, from the ROC, Restoration Council, from the I think countries and the regions, from the LGAs and the counties. This is the way that committee. I hope that the members of the Restoration Council will come up and give a better explanation to that committee. But to the best of my knowledge, that is how they picked up members of that committee. I never sat in that committee for a day, and of course, none of us running for president today was sure of running for president when those rules were drafted. Nobody. Not my Gertrude. Not myself. No, there was nobody inside. And I never participated even for a minute in that committee. So, but not only that, after the committee finished its job, it sent the recommendations to the Restoration Council. The Restoration Council looked at it. I think they did a little few tweets here and there, and then they endorsed it and signed it, sent it to the chair of the Judiciary Committee, who is a member of the executive branch. Right. The chair of the Judiciary Committee is a member of the executive branch appointed by the president. And so, the Restoration Council sent a copy to him, and he duly presented it to the president and the vice. The president and the vice, they read the modalities, they had a few concerns, they took it back to the Restoration Council, they held a meeting with the Restoration Council, and the vice president scored that modality 95% good. Now listen to me. He scored it 95% good. Ladies and gentlemen, 95% good. Now, in an exam, that will be an A+. A+. So the vice president scored it 95% plus. I understand there is an audio recording of that meeting. It can be put out there. Now, the elections is announced, and so suddenly everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. First, they get the election commissioner to resign. Secondly, they want everybody in the commission to resign so that the elections are stopped. That's what's been going on. And then thirdly, oh no, not every member of the Restoration Council is qualified to vote. Not every country and regional leader is qualified to vote. You cannot be a player and want to be the referee at the same time. You scored this, the modalities 95% good. And then the game started. In the middle of the game, you want to change it. So, they are now trying to get the Restoration Council to change the rules in the middle of the game. And let me add something here. I think the Restoration Council was very generous, to have sent the rules to the president and the vice, knowing that they were incumbent, who were the only candidates known at that time to be ready to run for elections. Nobody else was prepared to run for elections. They were the only people who knew they were running for elections. Yet, the modalities were sent to them. They read it, went to the Restoration Council, approved it with a score of 95%. But now they see everything wrong. Everything wrong. But they have not only seen everything wrong, they've carried out a campaign of slander, vilification, and blackmail out there. People's private information that they use for CID is now making the rounds in the social media. It is making the rounds in the social media, put out by the president and her team. And we have been talking about fundraising, ladies and gentlemen, in this struggle. We've been talking about fundraising in this struggle. I've had so many people in the past years since we launched CID and draft and stuff come to me and said, Secretary Chris, I like to pay, but I don't like my name out there. I remember there was a time when we launched my trip to Boya. Somebody called me and said, Secretary Chris, I have $5,000 to pay, but I don't want my name out there. I don't even need a receipt. I don't even remember who that guy was then. He was calling from Maryland. He said, I have $5,000 to give, but I don't need my name out there. I don't even want a receipt. I said, wow. I gave him the number of the treasurer then. He called the treasurer and paid in $5,000. But didn't want his name out there. Didn't even want a receipt. There are very many people out there, and I know many of them who are supporting this struggle, who do not want their faces, who don't have their faces out there. They don't want their names out there. They don't want anything out there. And now you set up a fundraiser called CID, and people are registering to support the struggle. And you go in there, use people who should not have access to it, pull out people's information, and you circulate it out there in the social media. How are people seeing this going to support this struggle? Is this leadership? Is this the kind of leaders that we want to have? That when they differ with you, they pull out your information, dump it out there in the social media. How do you raise funds? How do you convince people to support this struggle with their money if this is what you will do at the least disagreement with their information? This is not leadership. Again, that is not leadership. That is not what we want. Ladies and gentlemen, this struggle has some people paying just $5 every month, some $10, some $50. Even if it is $5 and the person requests anonymity, please, we have to keep them anonymous because their $5 adds up. Their $5 adds up, and to have their information circulating on the social media is a breach of confidentiality. And in a situation of law, I bet you the people will go to jail. The people that do that will go to jail if we were in a situation of law. But it is not. But I'm saying this so that you see the kind of leader that we have had. One of the reasons we don't have money coming into this interim government to fund the struggle. We have to be very, very careful. All right. Now, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I will talk about this unity thing that you heard Madam President talk about, doing everything to build unity. If there is anybody in this struggle, if there is anybody in this struggle who have preached and who have taught unity, it is yours truly. All the way from the former regime, I preached unity and I confronted them about unity. Of course, you will never know it because I don't come out and say this is what Chris is doing in there. But of course, when it bursted out, you heard it. They were saying that Chris want to hand over the interim government to Sisiko people. Chris want to hand over government to Sisiko people. This is what they were saying. I have reached out to almost every leader, even those that we really don't agree in the way they do things. I am saying this to say that the present leadership that we have now talks bridge building. But bridge building is not the same as unity. It's not the same as reaching out to other leaders in this struggle to solicit for their cooperation in the prosecution of this war. When another leader calls you and you say you cannot talk to that leader because he fails to address you as Madam President, what bridge building are we building? When an activist goes on television and calls you names, and you don't have the thick skin to contain that, then you cannot be a leader. A leader is he who will receive every stone and say, you know what? I am stronger than that. I can bear that. I can contain that. I will keep my focus on the goal. That's what it should be. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned the case of Honorable Weber here a few minutes ago. If somebody as Honorable Weber will be refused or be told, no, you can't have him on your television, what kind of bridge building are we hearing out there? What kind of bridge building? Isn't just a smoke screen that we are hearing out there. I have heard of leaders who have picked the phone, other group leaders who have picked the phone and called on our president. But there has never been a return phone call. I have personally given out her number after talking to, I'll give you an example. If you ask Comrade Yerima, I have given the president's number to other group leaders. And say, after talking to them, I have approached her personally to say, hey, I spoke to this person, I spoke to that person. And you know what the answer is? Get to the undersecretary under bridge building and let that committee follow up. And I said, come on. Another leader want to talk to you, and you want me to direct that leader to talk to some committee? You cannot pick your phone and speak to another leader like you? So, ladies and gentlemen, if we talk about unity, we have to be serious. Without it, at this moment, we are doomed. I mean it. And let me say it again. I am really not desperate for this position. I am not desperate for it. If I'm not there, if I don't win, if I don't take it, I will be just fine out there. But I'm telling you, you have somebody here who wants to take on La Republic heads on. And rebuild this struggle to what we have 2017 to 2020. Those were some of the best days of this struggle. We need to get it there. And it takes somebody who is actually willing, not somebody who is preaching, to do it. I want to see that done. Having said all of this, I'm not going to take very long here, as I promised you. This is what I want to say. This struggle, again, is what we have to do for Ambazonia. It is not about all the attacks. It is not about curses. It is not about lies. It is not about sabotage. It is not about trying to stop the election itself or staying put in power. It is about delivering Ambazonia. It is about delivering Ambazonia from the fangs of La République du Cameroon. This is what I want to do, fellow Ambazonians. I have said it. I want to bring everybody back together. And that doesn't mean bringing everybody under the interim government. That is not what I want to do. One of the problems we have had at the interim government is that we put on leaders at the interim government and they lift up their shoulders and they see themselves as already presidents in Boya, sitting in Boya. And other leaders are like, well, if you're already a president, why should I work with you? That is a problem. We must recognize that the interim government is a group like any other group out there, even though we enjoy the overwhelming support, we enjoy overwhelming fundraising from all Ambazonians. We must realize that. Because if we want to cooperate with other people and we go telling them what we must do or what we want to do, we cannot win them. We cannot work with them. The moment has come. We see ourselves as equal stakeholders on equal basis, put on the balance, wearing the same. The only difference again being that the interim government enjoys overwhelming support from Ambazonians. But we can use that overwhelming support to support other groups that we realize are doing the job or want to do the job. The APLM has set a good example. They don't have the funds, but we realize the APLM is about doing the job. The interim government with the money can support APLM initiatives, that is, working together. Other groups that we don't know but who want to work with the interim government, they don't have to belong for the interim government to support them if the interim government is raising enough money. We have to do that. That is unity. And in doing so, we must see ourselves at equal levels. However, with the understanding from other groups that the interim government has an urge, and that urge is only in the level of support it has and the finances it raised. Because I think you agree with me, the interim government has raised funds that no other group has raised in this struggle. And if we're working together and making sure that every group can share a little bit of it, if they are working, just imagine where it would have taken us to. That is what I want to do. That is what I want to do. I also want to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, we change the dynamics on the ground. We change the dynamics on the ground. This idea that we can just kill all our Republic of Cameroon soldiers and the war will be over, we would have won it. Of course, we don't have the capability. But there are other tactics that we can use. Brutal, ruthless tactics that we can use to bring La République du Cameroon to the table. To the table. We will never have enough soldiers to match those of La République du Cameroon. But there are other tactics that we can use. Of course, I cannot sit here and tell you about them. That we can use to bring La République du Cameroon to the table. When I become your leader, we will sit down and discuss this and change the dynamics of this war. And I can assure you, with me in that place, it will not take long. It will not take long for La République du Cameroon to now say, okay, we are ready to talk. We are ready to sit down. That is what I want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, for 6 years, we have not had any diplomatic success. Any diplomatic success in this war. I can assure you, I know exactly which doors to knock. This thing is not about running left and right, helter-skelter, knocking every door. There are doors that are strategic. There are doors that are strategic. And we know personalities, we met personalities who will lead us to those doors, knocking those doors. And you can trust me as your leader. I will knock those doors myself. I have said it again. This diplomacy that will sit down in a bedroom and write on a computer and emails and hope that they will hear us, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We must go there and meet them where they are and say, hey, this is my problem. We must knock their doors and meet them, book appointments, meet them where they are. I will not be one of those leaders who sit here in the studio and write emails and say, I have written to the French ambassador. I have written to the Russian ambassador. I have written to the Austrian ambassador. No, we have to seek to meet them face to face, because that makes a tremendous difference. That makes a tremendous difference. But above all, again, for over 5 years, we have not captured a single territory. One diplomat said to me, he said, Chris, the moment you people capture part of your territory, no matter how tiny it is, watch and see, the international community, so-called, they will start rushing after you people. They will start rushing after you people with aid, with support. With aid and with support. But for 5 years, we've captured no territory. If for 5 years we haven't captured a territory, just imagine how long it is going to take before we can get Ambazonia. Fellow comrades, I want to give you a promise. You make me your leader. You make me your leader. Give me 1 year. We will have a territory under our control. Now, you can record this. Save it somewhere. Save it somewhere. If after 3 years that you vote for me to be your leader, we have no territory under your control, I will never stand again for you to lead you. I will not stand re-election, and I mean it. I am not going into this for a beauty contest. I am going into war. I am going into war, and war means winning territories, as Russia is doing in Ukraine. If after 3 years we have no territory, please remind me, Chris, or Secretary Chris, or Comrade Chris, you said we must have a territory in 3 years. We haven't had one. And I can assure you, I will not stand for any election after that. I mean what I say. And I really want to do this really, really bad. We must also look at, ladies and gentlemen, our school policy. We have had this war going on again for 6 years, and our brothers, our sisters, our children, they have not been to school. We will sit down with the LGA chiefs, because these LGA chairs, they know exactly what is going on in their neighborhoods, in their LGAs. They know the issues there. They know the troubles there with schooling. When I take over on September 6th, we will sit down with the LGA chairs, the county chairs, and we will have to redefine our school policy. We don't know how long this war will go. We have to sit down, look at that policy, possibly redesign it. That is one of the things I want to do. But not only that, without money, none of this can be done. Without money, none of this can be achieved. You need money to be able to take over a territory, occupy it, and keep it, and maintain it. You need money to run around and do this knocking door. You need money to be able to reach out to our refugees and our prisoners of conscience. We need money in every endeavor that we embark upon. But we have not had the money. As I said to you last Monday, it doesn't look good. It is not looking good. Somebody say, oh, Secretary, you shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. Comrades, listen to me. You think a lot of people will ever have anything good to say about us, no matter how you put it? Even among us, there are enablers and blacklegs and bitcoiners who will prefer somebody else to take over this interim government than Chris Ano, because they know what awaits them if I should take over. But I am saying that, ladies and gentlemen, when I take over, we have already figured out means of bringing money into this struggle. We have put together a think tank that has brainstormed on what we can do differently from what has already been done to raise funds. And on September 6th, after September 6th, I will come announcing to you exactly what the plan is. If we want Francophones to leave Amazonia, if we want their businesses to leave Amazonia, we have to train special squads. And I promise you, there will be special squads. Not like the aborted, is it federal marshal or county marshal that was all talked about but never happened. We have to do these things, ladies and gentlemen. I will be talking more in the days ahead. About these things. But I really hope that you see the difference between us in this race. One attacks and attacks and attacks and attacks. Comrades, imagine, for 6 years, I am the most attacked person in the struggle. But every administration kept me. Think about that. They all kept me, isn't it? What does that tell you? I do a great job. I'm a good team player. Ladies and gentlemen, think about that. Every administration from day number one. In fact, I think I'm probably the oldest cabinet member still here from Sisicos. And they want you to believe that, oh, this guy is this. I like things done the straight way. But when you come in and you think you can manipulate people and just, no, it doesn't argue well with me. When you have a team, you work with a team. You don't really get the team. I just said here a few minutes ago that the chief advisor to President Marianta is the campaign manager for Margaret Kisa. That should tell you exactly what I mean by lack of consultations. If you are the president, and your own advisor, chief advisor, is the campaign chairman for another candidate, how does you think that people look at that? So please, comrades, this is the moment. I believe this is the moment for us to take over our country. I am bent on doing it. I have said I don't care if that sends me to jail. I don't care if that sends me to the ICC. I don't care if it means dying. I don't have anything else to lose in this struggle. I have nothing else to lose. I have lost everything already. And you heard the president say yesterday, Secretary Chris doesn't attend cabinet meetings. She may be right, but I bet you she knows where I have been, ladies and gentlemen. My wife has been lying in a coma in the hospital As I speak to you, my wife lies there. And she knows it. But she comes to play politics with it. She has called me to say, how is your wife? How is your wife? How is your wife? And she knows my wife lies in the coma. But I come here every day, I sit here and I smile. None of you know this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take over our country. I have lost everything. Ambazonia is the only thing left. We are taking it back. Vote me your leader. We will do it. God bless you all. That will be all. Again, my Gertrude will be back here on will be here on Monday. And the door is open to every candidate. The door is open to every candidate. And you want to come on to ABS to promote your campaign, all you need to do is call. Do not say that Secretary Chris or ABS did not sign some MOU. We will never sign one. For as long as it is meant to tie the hands of ABS, ABS will serve all of Ambazonia. So again, every candidate is welcome to take up space on ABS to promote their campaign. Fellow Ambazonians, I like to thank you for tuning in and watching. I look forward to being back with you. The next time I am back with you, we will open the phone lines. We will open the phone lines to take your questions. But for today, that's all I had for you. Good night. God bless.
International. DJ Maya, Coco Saya. The Prince Kimatani, Mova Kebenyen, Arab Money, Business Tycoon. Mano, Coco Nemeneke Mama, what in Uber menu Bobabe, what in Uber menu Babe, one day one no Kuri one, Chimba one Chimba one way, Member one Chimba one way, Chimba one la chicotte des jaloux, n'aime quoi? A single mistake, don't make error. Error from Mutuku. The man on the mix, DJ Manas International. On soit mon pépé, on y est pas fort.